Let's turn now to our big, huge Pretty Woman reunion. 25 years ago, it became...
In the dazzling world of Hollywood, where stars flicker and fade overnight, one woman's smile became her superpower. Julia Roberts, born in small-town Georgia, raised in the shadows of hardship, would go on to embody an entire era of cinema. Her radiant presence, her magnetic charm, and above all, her million-dollar smile crowned her as America's sweetheart. But behind the red carpet glamour lay heartbreak, failed romances, and relentless scrutiny from the press. She soared to unimaginable heights, became the highest-paid actress in the world, and then faced the storms of scandal and doubt. How did Julia Roberts, once just a dreamer from Smyrna, rise to Hollywood royalty and endure its darkest trials? This is the untold story of resilience, reinvention, and everlasting stardom. Julia Fiona Roberts was born on October 28, 1967, in Smyrna, Georgia, a modest suburban town outside Atlanta. Her parents, Walter and Betty Lou Roberts, were both actors and drama coaches who ran a small workshop for aspiring performers. It wasn't glamorous. Students often included children of struggling families, and sometimes they couldn't even afford tuition. But the Roberts family opened their doors anyway, teaching out of passion rather than profit. Despite being surrounded by creativity, Julia's childhood was far from idyllic. When she was just 4 years old, her parents divorced, leaving her mother to raise Julia and her siblings, Eric and Lisa, on her own. Money was tight, and the Roberts children grew up with the weight of financial insecurity. Then came the devastating blow. In 1977, Julia's father, Walter, passed away from throat cancer. Julia was only 10 years old, and the loss left a lasting scar. It was a moment that hardened her resilience, though she could not yet understand its significance. Interestingly, Julia didn't grow up dreaming of fame. Instead, she once wanted to be a veterinarian, drawn to her love for animals. But her striking appearance, tall frame, and wide, captivating smile made it clear that destiny had different plans. The small-town girl with an ordinary background would soon step into an extraordinary world, forever changing the landscape of Hollywood. After graduating from high school, Julia Roberts followed the footsteps of her older siblings, Eric and Lisa, both of whom were already pursuing acting careers. With little more than determination and a dream, she moved to New York City. There, she signed with a modeling agency and began studying acting, hoping to carve out her own path in the competitive world of entertainment. Her earliest appearances were small and easily overlooked, minor roles in television series and low-budget films. But Julia's striking features and undeniable charisma stood out. In 1988, she landed her first real film role in Satisfaction, a rock-and-roll drama starring Justine Bateman. Though the movie barely made a dent at the box office, critics began noticing Julia's presence on screen. That same year, she appeared in Mystic Pizza, a modest coming-of-age film about 3 young women working in a small-town restaurant. The movie was not a blockbuster, but it became a sleeper hit, and Julia's natural charm made audiences pay attention. Reviewers called her a fresh talent with the potential for greatness. The defining moment of her early career arrived in 1989, when she played Shelby, a spirited young bride battling diabetes, in Steel Magnolias. Her heartfelt performance was both tender and unforgettable, earning her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Practically overnight, Julia went from a promising newcomer to one of Hollywood's most talked-about young stars. She had taken her first real step onto the Hollywood stage, and the world was eager to see what she would do next. The 1990s marked the golden age of Julia Roberts, and it all began with one film that defined her career, Pretty Woman. Cast opposite Richard Gere, Julia played Vivian Ward, a lively, sharp-witted woman who unexpectedly finds love in the most unlikely circumstances. The film became a cultural phenomenon, grossing nearly $500 million worldwide and turning Julia Roberts into an overnight superstar. Her infectious laugh and dazzling smile became her trademarks, so iconic that her smile alone was reportedly insured for millions. From that moment, Julia wasn't just another actress. She was the actress of her generation. She quickly earned the title of America's Sweetheart, and studios competed to have her name on their posters. In the years that followed, she dominated romantic comedies with unforgettable performances in My Best Friend's Wedding, 1997, Notting Hill, 1999, and Runaway Bride, 1999. Each film became a box office sensation, cementing Julia as the queen of the rom-com. But Julia wasn't limited to light-hearted love stories. She demonstrated impressive range with dramatic roles in Sleeping with the Enemy, 1991, and The Pelican Brief, 1993, proving she had the depth to carry thrillers and serious dramas as well. The pinnacle of her career came in 2000, with Erin Brockovich. Playing a single mother-turned-legal crusader, Julia delivered a performance that was raw, fiery, and unforgettable. The role earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, solidifying her place not only as a beloved star, but also as a critically respected performer. By the early 2000s, Julia Roberts was Hollywood royalty. She became the first actress to command a $20 million salary per film, a groundbreaking achievement that shifted the industry's perception of female stardom. At her peak, she was not just the face of an era. She was its defining force, a global icon who embodied both glamour and authenticity. For every dazzling red carpet moment, Julia Roberts also faced the unrelenting glare of scandal. In 1991, just 3 days before she was set to marry actor Kiefer Sutherland, Julia abruptly called off the wedding. The media erupted, branding her a runaway bride years before the film of the same name. Tabloids feasted on the drama, speculating endlessly about betrayal, cold feet, and Hollywood excess. Almost immediately afterward, Julia shocked the public again by eloping with country singer Lyle Lovett in a whirlwind marriage that lasted less than 2 years. Her romantic life became tabloid gold, overshadowing her professional achievements. The media painted her as temperamental and unpredictable, feeding an image of a starlet who couldn't separate love from chaos. For a time, Julia Roberts, the smiling darling of America, was portrayed as a diva with a messy personal life. The pressures extended into her career. While she remained bankable, not every film struck gold. Projects like Mary Riley, 1996, and Mona Lisa Smile, 2003, underperformed, leading critics to question whether Julia's reign was slipping. Could the queen of the rom-com survive beyond her signature genre? Even her relationships with Hollywood itself weren't free from controversy. On set, Julia sometimes clashed with co-stars or directors, earning her a reputation, fair or not, of being difficult to work with. In an industry quick to idolize but even quicker to condemn, such whispers could be dangerous. But perhaps the greatest challenge Julia faced was not scandal, but expectation. Being the highest-paid actress in Hollywood made her both admired and resented. Every film was measured not just by its story, but by its financial return. Every personal decision was magnified into a headline. It was a precarious balance, maintaining her image as America's sweetheart while wrestling with the relentless judgment of fame. For a moment, it seemed that Julia Roberts might become another casualty of Hollywood's merciless spotlight. But Julia was not finished. She would find a way to shift the narrative and reclaim her identity, not as a tabloid figure, but as a woman and artist on her own terms. By the early 2000s, Julia Roberts realized she could not live forever as Hollywood's rom-com queen. She needed to evolve, not only for her career, but for her sanity. The transformation began with her personal life. In 2002, she married cinematographer Daniel Moder in a quiet ceremony far from the flashing cameras. With him, Julia found the stability she had long been searching for. Together, they raised 3 children, shifting Julia's focus away from relentless tabloid scrutiny and toward the sanctuary of family. On screen, Julia deliberately stepped away from glossy love stories. She chose roles that revealed a darker, more mature side, like the emotionally complex Anna in Closer, 2004, a film that stripped away her sweetheart image and showcased her dramatic intensity. Later in August, Osage County, 2013, she played Barbara, a daughter locked in a toxic family feud, earning widespread critical acclaim. At the same time, Julia used her influence for causes beyond Hollywood. She became a global ambassador for UNICEF, advocated for children's health and education, and supported environmental initiatives. While she no longer dominated headlines as she once had, Julia's image shifted, from a tabloid obsession to a respected actress and humanitarian. This reinvention wasn't about abandoning her past, it was about redefining her legacy. Julia Roberts had shown the world that she could be more than America's sweetheart. She could be a serious artist, a dedicated mother, and a woman who controlled her own story. Today, Julia Roberts stands as more than a Hollywood star. She is a cultural landmark. Her films from the 1990s defined an entire generation of romantic comedies, setting a standard few have ever matched. With Pretty Woman, she became the face of optimism and charm. With Erin Brockovich, she proved that talent and grit could change the course of a career. Few actresses have bridged the gap between commercial success and critical acclaim as seamlessly as Julia Roberts, but her true legacy lies beyond awards and box office numbers. Julia became a symbol of resilience in an industry notorious for breaking women down. She endured heartbreak, scandal, and endless scrutiny, yet re-emerged stronger with a career that continues to command respect decades later. Her journey is a reminder that stardom is not about perfection. It is about authenticity. Julia Roberts' story proves that even in a world built on illusions, sincerity can shine brightest. From a small-town girl to one of Hollywood's most enduring icons, her smile remains a beacon of hope, joy, and timeless stardom.